Hello everyone, my name is Brian Barlow and today I'm going to give you the basics of what professional wrestling is. This is the first in a series of video where I go into simple but concise detail about the world of professional wrestling so you, the viewer, can enjoy it more. Whether you're a new fan, a longtime fan, or not a fan at all. This can help you understand what's going on. I have been involved in wrestling on and off since 2016. And this video is now being made in 2025. I had started off as an intern, I then became a cameraman, I then became a referee, and I am currently training to be a pro wrestler. And during this time, I have read a lot of books, watched a lot of videos, been to a lot of seminars, and have learned a lot about professional wrestling, and I'm going to teach you about it in these videos. And if you have questions, feel free to put them in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to answer them in a future video, or even answer you directly. So let's get started. Now you're going to notice some things real quick. First, my trusty whiteboard. Then you're going to notice my microphone, so that when I'm in this position, you can hear me better. Because one of the things you learn about YouTube is it's not so much about the video quality, it's about the audio quality. Now, what is professional wrestling? Professional wrestling is a form of entertainment that combines athletic storytelling with athletic performance with theatrical storytelling. So, to repeat it for those who are a little slow, it is a form of entertainment that combines athletic performance with theatrical storytelling. What does that mean? Well, the theatrical storytelling goes along with the entertainment part, but the athletic performance is more like a sport. In other words, pro wrestling is a form of a sport and an entertainment, or sports entertainment. Sports entertainment is what Vince McMahon, who used to own and run the WWE, calls his version of pro wrestling, where there is athletic performance happening, but he focuses more on the entertainment, but there's still a large element of theatrical storytelling. Now, to go into further detail, but again, just to keep it simple, if I can find my eraser, here we go. One of the questions I get asked, because I'm a fan of wrestling as well as a practitioner in it in one way or another, one of the questions I get asked is, is it fake? Now let's break this down a little bit. Are we talking about the pain? Are we talking about the rivalries? Well, let's break this down. First of all, the pain. The way I explain it is there are two versions of pain. There's story pain, and there is real pain. Now, story pain is part of what pro wrestling is, because pro wrestling is something which is called predetermined. Now, notice I'm erasing the fake part because that's not a good focus if you want to learn to appreciate pro wrestling or just to understand it. Pro wrestling is predetermined. What that means is it is either fully or semi-scripted. Okay? Scripted, much like a TV show or a theatrical play or a musical or a movie. It needs to be scripted because the goal of pro wrestling is to tell you a long-form story. The story needs to get you, the viewer, emotionally invested. Now I'm going to move my microphone over here so you can see that. Pro wrestling is predetermined, which means it's scripted. It is scripted so that the people who are running the company or in the ring can tell you a story that triggers you emotionally. Now, the reason they want to trigger you emotionally is so that you feel invested enough with your time and your money. Pro wrestling is a business. They want you, the viewer, to watch their show, to buy the merchandise for the company or for the wrestlers, and to buy a pay-per-view. Because if you watch the show, and a lot of people are watching the show, then the company can sell television rights. In other words, get paid to show their program on other people's channels or networks. And they do that by writing good enough stories. There we go, good enough stories that get you, the viewer, emotionally invested. I repeat things to make a point. Now, just to review one more time before we proceed, pro wrestling is predetermined, which means it is scripted or semi-scripted, meaning there is moments of improvisation that happen. It's scripted so that they can tell long-form stories that trigger you emotionally and get you invested emotionally, so that you make them money, so that they stay in business. All right. So with that being said, is wrestling fake? No, it is not fake. I explain. We're going to erase this because this isn't the important thing to focus on. To focus on more important details. Pain. Is wrestling painful? Well, it goes back to it being about an athletic performance. In all forms of athleticism and in sports, where athletic performance is a part of the sport, the athletes get injured. The same as in pro wrestling. Now, to serve the story, the wrestler might act out that they are in pain. Because remember, the story means you get emotionally invested, which means they are more likely to make money. So they have to act in pain, and sometimes they have to act in pain outside of the ring, not just inside of the ring or inside of the building or on TV. There are still many moments where the wrestlers get hurt for real, okay? Where the wrestlers get hurt for real. And nowadays, wrestlers are able to take time off to heal. Back in the old days, if they took time off, they didn't get paid. So a lot of times they had to work hurt. Now, when I say hurt, I don't mean working with bruises or sores, because that's just a part of wrestling. Like, I just restarted my training last week, according to when this video is being made. And I'm friggin' sore right now. Don't get me wrong, I've had time to heal, but I still feel sore. And I got bruises as well. That's part of the game. You got to suck it up and deal with it. But there's still plenty of moments where it gets real. And sometimes you see a wrestler with a real injury still performing. And again, nowadays, wrestlers are more likely to take time off and heal properly and get surgeries to repair their bodies. In the old days, not so much the case, because in the old days, if they got hurt, they didn't make any money because they only got paid based on how many shows they performed at. So that's also very real. The need to provide for themselves and for their families. So being real isn't just, oh, is it real pain or are they really fighting each other? Because a lot of times it's based on the story that they are telling, which again, story is meant there to trigger you emotionally and get you invested emotionally so that you get the money, whether you pay them directly with a ticket or with merchandise or with a pay-per-view, or with them being able to sell their TV shows for television rights, where they can make a lot of money. All right, let's erase that. Now, what wrestlers do is extremely difficult because they have to combine theatrics with athleticism. They have to combine theatrics with athletics. They have to be both performers and athletes because bad pro wrestling is horrible, but great pro wrestling is amazing. We've all seen it, whether on our local shows or on national television, like with AEW or WWE. Wrestlers who aren't athletic hurt the product. Wrestlers who aren't good with theatrics, like being able to talk well or being able to act in pain, so that you can get emotionally invested and willingly suspend your disbelief even for that brief period of time. If they aren't good at either of those, it's hard to willingly suspend your disbelief. Now that brings up a very good point. The purpose of the theatrics and the athleticism is so you can willingly suspend your disbelief. You have to be able to willingly suspend your disbelief, and that's on the job of the wrestlers as well as the companies producing the show. We all know it's predetermined. We all know they're not really fighting. We all know they're telling a story. That's the thing. It's not fake. It's storytelling. They're telling a story to get you emotionally invested so that you make them money, and thus they repeat the cycle. It's up to them to provide good stories, and pro wrestlers who are able to tell those stories in a way that gets you emotionally invested. I keep repeating this because it's such an important point. Okay? Okay. If the wrestlers are doing their job, and if the promotion is doing its job, meaning the company producing the show, then you can willingly suspend your disbelief and escape for a little bit. And thus enjoy a great show. Just like you can enjoy a show on NBC, or on the USA Network, or on TNT, or your favorite show on your favorite streaming service. You can willingly suspend your disbelief and just enjoy the story being told. Wrestling does that, but live. Now, why do people like to watch wrestling? Because you get to experience all of that live. Wrestlers do this in real time. They don't have time to rehearse things. Well, I can go into detail about that later. But when you watch the show, they're doing it live. They only get one take. One take. Okay? So there's a lot of pressure on them to deliver in one take. It's still good for them because wrestlers are, when they're good, they're amazing because they have to do so much from the theatrical storytelling to the athletic performance so you can willingly suspend your disbelief so that you can become engaged in the story that is being told so that you can become emotionally invested in the story. I repeat, because that's such a crucial part. Wrestling isn't fake. Yes, they're not fighting each other for real. They are cooperating with each other for real, just like actors cooperate with each other on stage or on film or on the screen. We all know it's storytelling. That's what pro wrestling is, real life storytelling. But they do it live. And they have to do it live all the time. That is such a crucial point. Pro wrestling is very difficult to achieve or very difficult to produce because you have to do it live. It's very difficult to achieve the goal of engaging you, the fan, emotionally so that you help them make money. Because a lot of wrestlers who engage in pro wrestling, they can't really function in other parts of society, but they still want to provide for themselves and not be on welfare. So they do pro wrestling and they learn how to do the craft of pro wrestling so that they can make a living doing this, which means the craft of storytelling. Storytelling with words, but more importantly, storytelling with their bodies. Wrestlers put their bodies and their lives on the line every time they step into a ring. It is so crucial that they get things right so they don't die, but still provide you with quality entertainment. Now we're going to end this video right there. I want to thank you so much for your time. I want to thank you for allowing me to teach you, and there will be more videos coming. So if you're just the one person out there who is taking a benefit from this, I thank you for investing time with me. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.